Aurora, her mother, Robyn Brown, is the ultimate cheerleader where Kody reuniting with his kids is concerned. Really? So if that's the case, then why didn't Kody even call Savannah around Christmas time? Did she get a visit from him? No, I don't think so. Right, Savannah. No, he hasn't spoken to me since my birthday, she whispers to affirm. Since her birthday? Now, please tell me how sweet Savannah, arguably the most mellow, nicest, most laid-back person in the whole family, got completely overlooked in each and every big family moment. Let's examine this whole cheerleader of reconciliation thing more closely. Because, actually, it does begin to fall apart pretty quickly the moment we start examining actual events. So, let's dive in. Aurora says Robyn desires healing, that she's all about reunifying Kody and his older children. Great, sounds good. But if so, how do we explain Savannah not being invited to the second Christmas, to Truly's birthday, or even just to see her dad like any daughter would? Why has their relationship been reduced to a rare dinner here and there, like she's some distant cousin? Kody barely remembers. Kody even said, "I'll bring her Christmas. It'll be late, but eventually it'll happen." Savannah's response? I don't know. I'm mostly just angry at him. And no communication over the holidays at all. No gifts, nothing. That's the part that really hits you. She didn't even get a Christmas present, not a phone call, not a card. Meanwhile, over at Robyn's house, it looked like a Christmas commercial. Gifts, smiles, the whole warm and fuzzy scene. But sure, let's keep calling it reconciliation. Remember who supposedly shut down Christmas Eve at Mary's house because inviting the whole family didn't feel safe? That's not building bridges. That's putting up walls. And yet, we're told Robyn is all about unity. Well, let's look at her cheerleading record, shall we? She didn't invite Mary to Easter. She didn't encourage Kody to be there for Isabel's surgery. She stood by while Kody disappeared for nearly 2 weeks straight. She told Mary that hosting a Christmas party felt scary. She was fine with a nanny coming over during COVID. But Kody visiting his other children? That was too much of a risk suddenly. She had Kody driving her kids to school on days he was supposed to be with his other children, or, wives. Even Janelle confessed she'd felt forgotten, stating, "If I'd even thought for a second that they were open to doing Christmas together, I would have pushed." And then there's that so-called thing Robyn supposedly said to her own children, that the rest of the family dislikes them. That sort of communication does not exactly foster trust or bonding. Meanwhile, she's living in a spacious, decorated mansion. Janelle was stuck in a tiny apartment. Robyn's spending on nannies, jewelry, and who knows what clutter, while the shared family property at Coyote Pass just sits there, unpaid and unresolved. If that's her version of being a cheerleader, I'd really hate to see what division looks like. And let's talk about Aurora. She's 21 now. She's an adult. She's got a phone. And so when she speaks these things, it's not only coming from the mind of a child. It's a statement designed to make us reframe how we view her, and perhaps deflect heat from her. So now Aurora is in college. She's mature, she's learned, and we're supposed to just figure that she doesn't know what's really happening? That she just isn't aware of this family drama? She didn't even appear at the gender reveal livestream. None of her siblings appeared either. Now, doesn't that just seem sort of odd? Because when you take a step back, you begin to notice a pattern. Robyn and Kody distance themselves and their children from the rest of the family. Then they immediately turn around and inform those children that they're not allowed. They don't like us. It's not safe. We weren't invited. It's a message that is repeated again and again until it becomes their truth. That's how manipulation goes down. Divide and control. Oldest trick in the book. And can you see how Aurora and Brianna speak in those interview segments? It's as if they're tiptoeing across eggshells, second-guessing themselves with every sentence as if someone is going to crash through the door to tell them otherwise. They sound prepped, and they don't seem like they're even smiling. Honestly, they appear depleted. And you know what? If Robyn is right there in those interviews, which is likely enough, it makes sense. That house doesn't feel like home. It feels more like an emotional holding pen. No laughter, no genuine joy. Everyone appears to be one hard conversation away from totally imploding. Robyn's emotionally frozen her children, infantilized them. Dayton's still being coddled. Aurora, a grown woman, is often acting like she's 13. One of the younger children? Apparently still on a pacifier at age 7. And why? Because Robyn doesn't raise her children to grow. She raises them to remain dependent, emotionally stuck. This is one of the reasons her kids haven't bonded with their older siblings. Not because those relationships weren't attainable, but because Robyn didn't nurture them, not even at the start. Rather, she constructed a fence around her little unit. She fabricated this narrative and kept fueling it to her kids. They don't like us. They're mad at us. They hate us. And now we're seeing Aurora say those exact same things on camera, word for word. And the sad part is, it's working. These kids are afraid to reach out. They're emotionally frozen in place. They're living in a house where victimhood is the main language spoken. And Robyn? She speaks it fluently. Remember how Aurora and Brianna sobbed after embracing Mary? The same Mary who, throughout the pandemic, resided just down the street, but still couldn't come inside their home? She could only come by outside. And even so, it was largely while the cameras were on. That wasn't family affection. That was staged. That was for optics. Even the manner in which Robyn got her children to begin referring to Kody as Dad back when they were dating. There's something about that that just doesn't ring true. It didn't seem like it was about real connection. It seemed like image control. It was about the picture-perfect family, the air of togetherness, maintaining that family brand clean and tidy, everything focused squarely on Robyn. And here's the thing. These children have access. They have smartphones, internet, social media. They're not isolated from the world. So why do they continue to believe only the reality that Robyn has presented them with? Easy. Because it's the only narrative they've ever heard. This is no longer about emotional manipulation. This is long-term conditioning. Repeat the same thing to a person again and again, and at some point, they will repeat it to you as fact. They believe it's all about Robyn. But do you know what it is really about? It's about not caring, period, about anyone else. Robyn and her children? They've been adhering to every regulation, close to the COVID guidelines, living within their own bubble. In the meantime, Christine's been on the road. Janelle's kids have been living their social lives, and as a result, Robyn's kids became prisoners of perfection. They're obedient, compliant, always doing the right thing. Robyn's complimenting them like teammates, and that's precisely what she desires. Not kids becoming adults, but kids who are loyal, isolated, and easy to manage. And you know what? It's working. Nearly too well. So, no, Aurora. Until you can tell me how leaving Savannah out, disregarding Mary, and abandoning the initial Brown children is cheerleading for family recovery, people are going to keep on saying it what it is: gaslighting. Because by now, it's not a case of being oblivious anymore. It's a matter of choosing not to notice. That's what makes it so sad. The more Robyn gets to dictate the narrative, the longer her children remain stuck in it. And one day, when at long last they turn around and see what actually occurred, when the fog lifts, it's going to hurt. A lot. So perhaps the question isn't really whether Robyn ever wanted reconciliation. Perhaps it is. Did she ever even want a family to begin with? Yes, she claimed to. She claimed to want the plural family dream. But let's be real. Robyn also wanted something else. Fame and fortune. And here's the twist. She didn't even end up with either. Let's dig into that. Because today we're pulling back the curtain on how Robyn's dream of being a reality TV star didn't just fizzle. It backfired spectacularly. Meanwhile, Christine Brown? She quietly built something real. So, let's rewind for a second. Remember when they launched My Sister Wife's Closet? That was Robyn's grand gesture. She wanted in on the Brown family circus, cameras, business deals, the whole shebang. She confessed as much directly. She wanted the spotlight, the paycheck, and perhaps even a dash of celebrity notoriety. She spoke of, "I don't even see my future anymore," while requesting prayer and wishing for a new beginning. But here's the thing. She turned into a punchline instead of a powerhouse. She can't manage the press for the same show she works on. She crashes interviews like landmines. Why? Because now she's caught in the firestorm she herself kindled, and there's no quick escape. Meanwhile, Christine, she's flying high. She's just been named one of the most powerful women on reality TV. She's remarried to a man who is not only successful, but stable. A businessman who has his act together. No pretend millionaire fantasy. No theatrics. Just actual stability. Christine has her own YouTube series on TLC. She conducts interviews with dignity. And she's not coasting on the reality TV tide. She's making it last. A brand, a future. Actual independence and actual wealth. Others have picked up on it too. The overall sense is that if someone in the family speaks up around Robyn, they're always censoring themselves, fearing she'll take it and turn it into something else. They don't trust her. They're cautious, always prepared for the worst. And who can blame them? It's clear. Robyn was jealous of Christine right from the start. And now, she's probably seething in that jealousy even more. Why? Because she's stuck with Kody, who, let's be real, isn't exactly winning any popularity contests. Both of them are being mocked in the public eye, and, outside of her TLC check, Robyn hasn't been able to make anything real out of her position on the show. No brand, no business, no lasting legacy. She's too scared to stand before the press, and she secretly already knows the truth. She's not respected, and she most certainly isn't loved the way she had hoped that she would. And Kody? No exception. He's just as much of a coward, always shirking responsibility, always seeking shelter behind someone else. Go back to season 1, and you'll remember something that's kind of painful in hindsight. Robyn said she wanted to be so important to the family that her absence would be deeply felt. Well, that didn't quite work out. What she didn't understand was that this family already had a strong foundation, one built by Christine and the kids over many years. Robyn wasn't interested in adding some special to what was already there. No, she wished to replace it. She attempted to be the hub of the family. But when the children made it quite plain they weren't buying what she was selling, she dismissed them, saying they were a cheap version of family. Really? That's her response to not being embraced with open arms? She portrays herself as the fun, nice, selfless, lovable mother figure, the sweet grandma everybody loves. But come on, that's Christine's role. Robyn presents more as the knotted, resentful, emotionally vulnerable outsider, always attempting to redefine the story. And keep in mind, she wouldn't even allow Christine to babysit her children. The same job Christine was so skilled at. Why? Because she didn't want her children attached to Christine like the rest of the children were. That's insecurity now. She stormed in like she was queen of the castle with her 3 children and inserted herself into a family that had been together for 15 years and behaved like she was the rightful matriarch. She lectured the older children, commandeered Kody's attention, demanded that her children address him as Dad, and then, after the other children's lives were already in chaos, gave birth to another baby. Let's call it what it was, a power play masquerading as family planning, and it backfired, big time. Christine, on the other hand, she's living a steady, contented life. Her new husband David may not be flashy, but he's reliable, successful, and above all, genuine. No trailers, no money scrambling, no pretend spiritual marriage to satisfy some emptiness. Christine has her own career, her own finances, and genuine peace. That's the kind of relationship Robyn likely fantasizes about, but never really had. While Robyn and Kody were attempting to manage the narrative, portraying themselves as victims, crying on TV, reimagining history, Christine simply quietly spoke the truth. And people heard it. That's why the Brown children adore her. That's why the fans respect her. And that's why she's the one who's established something enduring out of all of this reality TV hoopla. And perhaps the greatest irony? Christine doesn't even think about them anymore. Doesn't speak with Robyn, doesn't care what Kody says. She's just moved on. But Robyn? She's still stuck. Still besotted with Christine. Still preoccupied with the woman who just walked away and lived happily ever after. Robyn craved fame, the spotlight, the flashy interviews and red carpets. What did she get instead? Silence, public humiliation, and a mortgage that could quite possibly slip away from her. And don't forget that time when Kody actually asked Christine to instruct Robyn on how to prepare his favorite dishes? Yikes! Imagine being constantly compared to the woman who won the hearts of the entire family and the viewers, while you're left fumbling in public, trying to hold on to something that was never really yours. In the end, this whole saga goes far beyond reality TV drama. It's not just another messy breakup or feud. It's a story of authenticity versus facade, resilience versus envy, genuine connection versus desperate control. Christine? She constructed something tangible, a life, a legacy. Robyn? She's still holding on to an illusion that died years ago. So what does it all mean about fame, about family, about what truly endures? Perhaps it's this. Genuine success isn't achieved by stealing the show. It's achieved by claiming your own truth and sharing it with the world without apology. And that's a lesson Robyn still has not learned. She said once she wanted a forever honeymoon with Kody. It was fanciful, romantic, like something out of a Hallmark special. I hope to have a honeymoon experience for years and years and years to come, she said. Because she thought about it being real. She wished it were real. But here's reality check. The honeymoon is over. And what's it like when that mistress experience is 24/7 everyday life with a man who has tantrums, clogs toilets, and takes more care in his hair than he does relationships? Prepare yourself. Robyn's fairy tale isn't just falling apart. It's breaking apart quicker than you can say, first date fart check. Let's rewind. Robyn made that big promise. She'd share with Kody the forever honeymoon, the dreamy, always in love existence. Janelle laughed. Even Christine raised an eyebrow. But Robyn? She swore it was real. Flash forward to today, and that fantasy? It's gone up in smoke. Why? Because playing honeymoon is easy, when your husband isn't around most of the time. For more than 10 years, Robyn saw Kody once or twice a week. That's not a marriage. It's a long-distance illusion wrapped in lace and lipstick. But now, he's always there. Morning breath, mood swings, mansplaining, and all. And the illusion, it's shattered. She's no longer living in a love bubble. She's stuck in a house with a man who leaves toenail clippings like breadcrumbs and treats everyday life like a rant session. The fairy tale prince is gone. What's left is a very dramatic roommate with a vendetta against his ex-wives. And let's be real, Kody's not exactly a ray of sunshine. He's bitter, petty, always complaining about how he's the victim. No charm remains, no sweet date night conversations, no chicken tenders and soft music, just complaint after complaint. And Robyn? She's in the thick of it now. The woman who once had breaks, peace, distance from Kody's chaos, she's now got it full time. And it's not cute. But here's where things get really telling. Robyn has always had a backup plan. Remember when Kody pitched the one big house idea? She didn't say no directly. She let Christine carry the resistance. She kept her hands clean. Then, after Christine left and Janelle revisited the idea, what did Robyn do? Suddenly, she was too traumatized by the way she was treated to ever do it again. Classic Robyn. She never owns up. She never says she voted against it. She just plays the injured dove while manipulating strings behind the curtain. You know what happens when someone's always the darling? They never have to say no. They nod, smile, agree. Because disagreeing, that ruins the whole arrangement. So what does happen when Robyn finally stands up to one of Kody's grand, sweeping ideas? Spoiler alert, it is not going to be pretty. Consider the Coyote Pass debacle, for instance. We don't have enough money to pay off the property, Kody concedes. Translation? The vision of constructing the family compound is dead in the water. But think about this. Kody proposes cutting back, or even selling the property, to make ends meet when the TLC checks stop coming. How do you think that'll go over with Robyn? Yeah. Not well, especially if she's already racking up the credit card bills again like the gossip indicates. And now, there's no Janelle, no Christine, no Mary to point a finger at. It's just Kody and Robyn, the final two left standing in the house of cards they constructed. No more scapegoats. No more, look how bad the other wives are. Now it's Robyn who's getting all the blame. And Kody? He's going to start paying attention. Because for him, it was never actually about love. It was about adoration. Robyn was the ideal fantasy wife, the indulgent favorite, the one who played along. But what happens when that honeymoon persona wears off? The illusion shatters. Quick. Talking about illusions, can we spend 1 second discussing Kody's hair? Remember when Robyn taught him how to scrunch in those curls? Now he's strolling about resembling an odd mix of Little Bo Peep and Goldilocks, insisting it aids in his dance moves. Sure, pal, whatever prolongs the midlife illusion. But beneath the surface, Kody's getting more difficult to live with. Control freak? Check. Teenage mood swings? Check. Both Christine and Janelle have ever said it. He's finicky, he's draining, and he turns everything around him. Living with somebody like that? That ain't love. That's survival. Even Janelle, cool and collected Janelle, confessed. Robyn and Kody's entire relationship was always superficial, based on staged moments, not reality. The truth? Robyn used to see Kody less than other people see their co-workers. And when you see your spouse only a few times a week, it's simple to pretend a forever honeymoon. But now that he's always present, the cracks are hard to conceal. And let's not forget about the Mary B's ribbon-cutting soap opera. Why was Kody even there, ribbon-cutting for something he did not raise funds for? Old school Kody. Show. Up for the cameras, take the glory, and make it all about him. Mary needed to tell him to take a seat and let her have that victory. Narcissists don't do sideline, though. They dominate the spotlight, even when they have no right to be there. And now, party's over. Robyn finally achieved what she wished. Kody, full-time. No more sister wives, no more competition, just the two of them, stuck in the wake of their decisions. And here's the kicker. That fantasy life Robyn struggled to create, that honeymoon fantasy, it's over. The show may be closing. The family, broken up. No plural love left to tape. No wives. No togetherness. Before long, Robyn and Kody will have to confront the music. And possibly something more terrifying than any TLC scandal. Real life. Real bills. Real jobs. And nobody left to blame but one another. So, what's the real lesson in all this? Robyn won the game, but the reward? Turns out it wasn't a fairy tale. It was a life sentence, with an attitude man-child with a penchant for moose and tantrums as personality. Because here's the reality. When you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And now Robyn and Kody are left holding the trophy no one else wanted, each other. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens when the cameras finally stop rolling? No confessionals, no TLC crew, just Robyn, Kody, and his curly hair obsession. Because fairy tales don't last forever, especially not the kind built on broken trust, fractured families, and a whole lot of denial. And when you're standing as the last two in a 5-wife reality show circus, the quiet is more deafening than the cheers ever were. Now, about Janelle. Was she Kody's real love all along? Let's be real. Perhaps that was never the issue. Perhaps it was never about love. Because the one person that Kody most loves, drumroll please, Kody, yup. Himself. He's the type of guy who looks in the mirror and blows himself a kiss. A split-ended superiority complex wielding, walking, talking narcissist. Let's dissect Janelle. She was the steady one, the friend, the cool girlfriend who stayed simple and steady. She gave Kody just enough to keep the fantasy going, without ever actually satiating his ego. Robyn? She's still behaving as if she's still pining over Kody like it's middle school. But come on, there's absolutely no real chemistry there. Can you recall one time Kody's eyes lit up with her? Didn't think so. Then compare that with Janelle. Remember that time back in the early seasons? Kody leaving her residence to go to the hospital for Truly's birth? He was walking on air. That was actual excitement, actual chemistry. Back in the day when it was new, but also real. And as the years passed, Kody's fascination escalated, creepy, clingy, and needy. Don't take my word for it. Go watch the 5K race scene again. Robyn accidentally purchases Janelle a shirt that is 2 sizes too small. Oops. So sweet, right? But Janelle puts it on, and bam! Kody's eyes nearly pop out of his head. He's salivating. That shirt clung to her curves, and Kody? He was smitten. Robyn, on the other hand, was seething in the background with jealousy beneath her forced smile. It was gold, because Kody has a type, and Robyn just isn't it. And you can tell every time he's around Janelle. It's easy. He laughs. She laughs. There's spark. There's life. Now compare that to Kody and Robyn. Painfully scripted. Forced grins. Zero heat. It's like you're seeing 2 women trapped in a community theater production of The Notebook with all the sparks of a wet toast. Sure, Robyn strokes his ego, But Janelle keeps him in check, and you could see it in that unforgettable moment, the morning after one of their final solo outings. Janelle's cleaning up, getting her stuff done, and Kody? All over her. Can't keep his paws to himself. That wasn't acting. That was real. Meanwhile, Robyn's likely in the other room, boiling with anger into a glass of herbal tea, because she knows at heart as well. She won the man, but not the magic. She won the crown of favorite wife, but never experienced the soulmate moments. And that is something you can't pretend, not with tears, not with commitment, not even with a honeymoon for life plan. That was never love. That was friends with benefits, period. Just the kind of dynamic Kody desires. Did he ever really love Janelle? Don't make us play dumb. Kody did not love her. He loved being able to use her as a convenience piece. No drama, completely independent. Low maintenance. She was the ideal long-term girlfriend for a man who is willing to settle for control without the work. And let's be honest, Janelle blew his mind in ways that likely shut down his brain. But emotionally, bare minimum affection, just enough to be able to keep him around. And the feeling? Far from mutual. Remember that cringy interview? Are you in love with Janelle? I love Janelle. Yeah. He couldn't even say it straight-faced. And Janelle? She wasn't exactly racing to proclaim undying love herself. They were best friends, roommates, perhaps the most function relationship he ever had, because it wasn't ever romantic. So if Kody married for love, who was that to? Mary, the first love story, who rapidly fell away once the power was no longer hers. Christine, the status wife, polygamy street cred, big happy family look. Robyn, the ultimate midlife crisis, the only woman that Kody ever actually adjusted for. Why? Because she fed his ego like it was starving. Robyn treats him like royalty, constant compliments, worship. She pumps up his ego like it's a full-time gig, ideal for a narcissist. But here's the catch. Kody and Robyn are both narcissists. They just type in different fonts. Robyn's the doe-eyed victim, helpless, innocent. She cries on command and manipulates the story like a pro, while Kody's the loud, manipulative dictator in private. And when Kody says, Robyn's done nothing wrong, he means it. Because in his reality, whoever opposes Robyn by default becomes abusive. That's not how life works. That's narcissistic deception. Robyn uses her victim status as a weapon. Kody? He feeds it with self-righteous rage. The combination? Poisonous, volatile, and unbearable to be around. Let's discuss Mary for a moment. People are dragging her, but you try making it through 32 years with a manipulator like Kody. That isn't weakness. That's trauma. Her responses make sense when you consider the larger picture. Kody's mask is off. The charismatic guy from earlier seasons? Bye. Now he's simply a condescending, bitter control freak coming undone in real time. Janelle wasn't buying it. She recognized Kody was disappointing her and her children. And that was the last straw. She knew remaining was going to mean giving up her family's peace and safety, and she took herself out of there. That snapped some